Praise be to Christ, brother.
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted to read them.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always traveling, and on top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
Then we elect a new one.
Is there anything I can do to help here?
I'm glad you asked. There's one thing, a silly thing really. I haven't thought to mention it to anyone before, but not long ago, a brother brought me a crumpled piece of parchment. He says he found it rolled up in a hole in the wall. The thing is, it was a page from Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Can you tell me something about the book?
The Art of Love is a sort of manual instructing young people how to find and maintain love. It's a lovely work. I don't understand what bothered Eustace so much about it, but as I was saying, he considered the book to be immoral and tore it up to stop it corrupting any of his brothers.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely! Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
Good. I'll look around for it.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you can find all 10 pages, I'll be most grateful.
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The pages of the book could be hidden anywhere, from the garden to the refectory.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
What would you like?
About you in the election. Will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are the benefits for himself and his cronies.
I'd like to help you if I can.
There is something you could do. I am convinced Nevlas must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out. If he was preaching water and drinking wine, for example.
So I should dig something up on him and tell you about it?
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevlas is too cunning and careful to give anything away.
Once I find something out, I'll tell you. Thank you for answering.
said the new cask is ready, but he was as nervous as a nun in a bathhouse, like he doesn't want to fetch anyone.
Oh, he'll do it. Just as soon as we've drunk this one dry, he'll do anything for a little pat on the back from us. What is it, brother?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who would you like to be the new abbot?
John, there's no other candidate. Nevertheless just babbles on and on. Don't take him seriously. I've got an itchy feeling on the back of my neck. I think something's wrong. True. They all know what we do to them. They've seen what we did to Lucas.
I tell you, brother, these all-night revelries are beginning to tire me out.
We're none of us getting any younger, but a cup of wine makes it all worthwhile. You've seen us drinking here, so either join in or swear you won't tell a soul. You won't want to end up like Lucas now, would you?
All right. I wouldn't mind some wine.
That's more like it. Sit down and have a drink, my lad. Quite right, brother. Just sit down and drink with us. When the wine runs out, Yorick will fetch more.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
What are you doing here?
What does it look like, drinking?
But we're all monks.
Youngster, when you're as old as I, you'll understand.
But you're the cicators. You're the ones meant to be keeping order here. How can gambling and drinking be a fitting part of a monk's life?
If you really want to know, see for yourself.
All right. Have it your way.
What would you like?
You mentioned Yodok. What does he do for you?
Well, nothing much. He's just a little suckling like you. He'll do whatever it takes to stay on our good side. Sometimes we make use of him when there are errands to run.
Where'd you get the wine from? I thought the monastery cellars were guarded.
So they are. But this wine isn't from the monastery. Listen, lad, would you help us out with something? This cask is almost empty and we need a new one. We're a bit old for such exertions, but you, on the other hand...
I'll help you. What do I need to do?
Ha! I knew it! Help Novice Yorick arrange for a new cask. Talk to him first thing in the morning, and by tomorrow night, the cask can be on the table.
All right, I'll talk to him. About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Thank you for answering. What did you want me to do?
Dig up some dirt on Nevlus and tell me about it. If he's discredited in front of the others, he has no chance of even standing as a candidate.
What would you like?
Let's drink.
That's the idea. And what should we drink to?
How about to the abbot?
To the abbot it is. But wait a minute, lad. Which one?
To Abbot John.
That's more like it.
Let's play.
Just the man we've been waiting for. My friend, so, let's play.
That killjoy? He'd love to have us all under his thumb. Fat chance.
Don't worry. Those youngsters will wise up once they hear all about him.
Will they believe it?
Even if just 2 or 3 of them do, it'll help us. So, to Abbot John.
To Abbot John.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
About you in the election. Will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
I'd like to help you if I can.
There is something you could do. I am convinced Nevillus must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out. If he was preaching water and drinking wine, for example.
So, I should dig something up on him and tell you about it?
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevillus is too cunning and careful to give anything away.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't seem right to me.
He who aids a sinner sins himself. I shall pray for your soul, brother.
Thank you for answering.
Can't you see? We're at Mass.
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
Not now, brother. After Mass.
This is not a good time for questions, brother.
Mother! Hey, you! What are you doing? Fuck off before I lose my temper.
Vessels with quicksilver in them.
This is not a good time for questions, brother.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
What troubles you? What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I was talking last night with the Brother Cicators. It seems you're to fetch them a cask of wine, like last time.
Well, yes, it's true.
I'd like to help you.
Would you really do it? To get hold of the wine, we'll have to leave the monastery for a bit. I know it's forbidden, but we've no other option. If wine started going missing here, someone would notice. But to leave the monastery, we need the keys. And only the prior has those.
Wait a moment. Are you saying I'm supposed to steal the prior's keys so I can go and steal wine somewhere else?
Well, you see why I don't want to do it myself now, do you? I don't have what it takes. I can't get those keys, but you could. Or you might be able to pick the locks.
But you've done it once before, haven't you?
Last time the prior was sick, and he left the monastery keys in the Circator's care. So they unlocked the gates for me. This time we'll have to steal the keys.
How can I get hold of the keys, do you think?
I don't know, but it might be possible to do this without them. Brother Celerius, the cellar keeper, used to be a burglar. He knows his way around locks, and maybe could help us, if you could find a way to arrange it.
Do you think he'll want to take part in theft?
No, but he could give some advice, or maybe get some lockpicks to open the gate. You'll figure something out.
If you think so, I can try.
Once you have the key or some lockpicks, come and see me and we'll make our plan.
About those keys.
Did you get them? Keys? Or at least lockpicks?
Yes, I have them.
In that case, come before midnight to the cloister garden. I'll be waiting for you there, and we'll head off.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
What do you need me for?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the libri prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Celerius could help.
Why can't you do it yourself?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me crawling around in the black of night searching for a forbidden book?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately, Librarian Cyril is a stubborn ass.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Solarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Nevlis, vote for Nevlis"?
Not exactly. You do have an opponent, John.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out what I can.
Thank you, brother.
What do you want me to find out?
I'd be interested to hear about any iniquity in the monastery. I need to prepare myself for what I'll be facing.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
I could do with a bite to eat.
What is it, brother?
I've discovered something about the wrongs being committed here.
I see. Tell me more.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
The Circators go into the cellar at night to drink wine.
I thought so. John always reeks of it. And he wants to be abbot. Hypocrite. Perhaps if you told the prior, that would clip John's wings.
Brother Yodok has been stealing wine for the Circators so they can drink.
Yodok? Well, that little rat's shown his true colours. Do you know where he's stealing it from?
I don't know, unfortunately.
No matter. You've brought me important information.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
For it is written, "In much speaking you will not escape sin." And in another place, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples' part is to be silent, to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter,
Praise be to Christ, brother.
beware with a perpetual back. And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on the spirit of silence. Let us
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humble, kept silence even from good. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refraining from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, "In much speaking you will not escape sin." And in another place, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples' part is to be silent and to listen. For that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it...
So I'm sorry, but I'll have to disappoint you, brother.
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks? And what would you like those for?
What's it to you? Do you have some or not?
Peace, brother. There's no need to get all worked up. So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I? Praise be to Christ, brother.
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I need to get hold of some kind of weapon.
Well, I can't help you with that. And besides, what use would a weapon be in here?
Oh, nothing really, come to think of it. You have some interesting skills for a monk. Don't suppose you want to tell me how you picked them up?
What's there to tell? We were all young and foolish once. I was a student in Prague, completely broke, living from hand to mouth and studying all day. It wasn't an easy life.
So you turned to stealing?
I set about securing a livelihood as best I could. A goose, some new shoes, a bit of coin to spend with my friends. Without that little bit extra, I'd never have completed my studies. I would have turned into a beggar. And who else do you know that can say he's serving God thanks to having been a thief?
No one, brother. Thank you for telling me your story.
You've got a strong constitution. Anyone else would have certainly died.
What happened?
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a young boy. He was lost and miserable. He had no future. He was tempted by his friends into doing some foolish things, but he wasn't truly bad, because when it came down to it, he ran away rather than keep doing foolish deeds. His former friends didn't take kindly to that, though, and wanted to punish him. So they sent a hunting dog to find him and rip his throat. The boy wasn't stupid, though, and he knew that the hound was coming. He poisoned some food, and when the hound showed up, he gave it to him. He didn't expect the beast to live, but it did. And all of a sudden, the boy was sorry for what he tried to do. So he offered to make a bargain with the hound.
It was you that poisoned me.
Don't take it personally. Kill or be killed. You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us, but we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Nyhoff. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Nyhoff made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. And what exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace, and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
What if I wanted a different option?
You could kill another novice, I suppose. If news of the murder got out from the monastery, my former friends might believe I'm dead. But I'm offering you a solution that doesn't require any killing. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
I don't agree. You need to die.
I'm sorry to hear that. I thought we could come to an agreement that left both of us alive. But since there's no convincing you, I'll settle for just me.
Way off! Take that!
Dobre. The monk's got no business out here. What happened to your vows?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This looks like the place they were talking about.
Morning, sunshine. Hope we didn't wake you.
Kurva! Did you have to sneak up on me like thieves?
We are thieves. Besides, we had to make sure you weren't followed. Or trying to lead us into a trap. But enough of this chit-chat. Let's get down to business. We heard there was some trouble at the monastery. Question is, was it the right sort? Did you do that job we agreed?
Do you think I'd be sitting here if I didn't do it?
How should I know? The world's full of idiots.
It's done.
You've got proof?
He had this on him.
Aye. That says all right. What did you do with the body?
I dragged it away and buried it.
That must have been quite a job.
Are you saying I wouldn't have the strength?
Nah. I just have to make sure you did what was needed. Not even a mouse can get into that damn monastery, so no choice but to trust you.
And do you trust me?
Yeah.
What now?
What now? You did your job. Welcome. We need people like you.
But what do you need people like me to do?
I'm just a crimp. All I do is recruit. Now you get to go to our camp and find out everything you need to know.
Where?
Are you seriously telling me you didn't notice the camp? Not too observant, are you? Well, there's a hill above Sasau, and on top there's an old abandoned fort. Only it's not as abandoned as it used to be. That's where the camp is. Go there and report to a fellow by the name of Eric. Tell him Kozliak sent you.
And they'll let me in just like that?
Good point. I almost forgot. At the gate, show them the special dye you took off Pius. That's our sign.
That's all?
That's all. You'll learn everything you need to know at Vranik. And hurry up. I've got a feeling there's something being planned. A monk's got no business out here. What happened to your vows?
God bless you. What troubles you? God be with you.
Day.
Would you have a job for me? Maybe you're in need of some supplies?
Fresh meat.
No problem. I can go to Ratai and buy some for you.
I could send a stable boy for that. I'm talking about game.
Game? But that's near impossible to buy. I'd have to hunt it myself. And that's against the law. Ah.
Of course, I'll pay you well for anything you bring me. Even more if it's something in particular I want. And if you help me out here and there, I'll teach you something useful in return.
That's an interesting proposition. Are you after some meat?
Indeed. I was going to do hare and cream sauce. I've got everything I need, except the hare.
I've got the meat you wanted.
Great. Nothing like the aroma of fresh game. Here you are. You've earned your groschen.
Are you after some meat?
Certainly. I'm expecting a traveling merchant who loves venison from roe deer. I'll be mighty grateful if you brought me some fresh stuff.
I've got the meat you wanted.
Great. Nothing like the aroma of fresh game. Here you are. You've earned your groschen.
Are you after some meat?
I've run out of boar meat. It's a nuisance. Folk come here from far and wide for my boar goulash. If you could bring me some, I'd make it worth your while. Take care now. Take care now.